tweet. Jesus, I wish more people learned how to use social media. DMs are open. My DMs are always open. Literally always. They're constantly fucking open, my DMs. Hi, welcome. I also saw a tweet that said some BS about, like, using your body to get like streams, blah, 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 for game devs. Keep that shit out of here. For, like, game streamers, that's not what we're here for. Out of spite, I will both talk about game dev shit and have my chest out. Why? Because they're fucking irrelevant to this. Anyway, today's a lot more freeform because, well, also, we've graduated. I now have a big calendar. Look at her, isn't she pretty? Ugh, I love being organized. She saves my life, this calendar. But also, we're going to be talking about, oh god, this is so heavy. Oh boy. These are all in the projects. Everything that is green is a game, and we're going to talk about them. Because they're all different, and I want to share some of the process with you guys. So, TBH, trying to think of the best way to do this. We're going to do some game stuff on the fly, too, because sometimes these are concepts I haven't actually worked out yet. Sometimes all I have is a title. So we're going to take some shit. Okay, that one actually has to stay there, because that one I'm working on with other people, and I'm probably not free to talk about it, because it's not my game only. So we're going to talk about other shit. Here's one. We're going to go through game dev stuff. We're going to brainstorm. I'm going to show you guys my range, because I want it to inspire you to also embrace your range. I think a lot of people feel like having a range, I mean, when you say it, nobody would ever tell you having a range is a bad thing. But the thing is, a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people see diversity in your portfolio as like, oh, you couldn't stick to one thing, or, oh, like, you couldn't just, like, make it work with the one thing. You're not going to establish yourself, blah, blah, blah. That is bull fucking shit, my friends. You having diversity in your portfolio is such a strength, it's ridiculous. Hi. I'm going to call you Job unless you tell me to call you something else. I tend to call people short versions of their handles, and that is yours. So yeah, we're taking all of the games off of my dev board right now. All of them. And we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about all of them, because I want you guys to see you don't have to just make one type of game. You don't have to just stick with one system. You don't have to just stick with one genre. Actually, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. A lot of people say, like, oh, well, then you can't market, blah, blah. That is bull fucking shit. Bullshit. You can work on a bazillion different things. Having a range is a good thing. Sure, specializing is fine. If you really have one area you shine in, dude, follow your bliss. Follow the shit that you shine in. Abso-fucking-lutely. If you are best doing visual novels and only dating sims, that's nice. That's cool. Nobody's saying you can't do that. But you can just be just as successful, if not more, if you diversify. So I'm pulling all my goddamn green notes off of... Shut up. Don't fall. Ugh, that was my phone. Rest in peace. It's okay. I have a really, really thick carpet. I'm pulling all of my shit down so that we can talk about diversifying your portfolio and how, like, different game dev stuff can look. Because all of these games have different origin stories. These are my superheroes. One of my friends, because I recently started working for a comic book company, as an assistant world builder for the company. I'm just psyched. And one of my friends said, "You're going to be Stan Lee." And I was like, that is the nicest fucking thing anyone has ever said about that aspect of my career. Thank you. But, like, it's a really great example, actually, about how diversifying your talents and portfolio can only help you. Because, yeah, whenever I do my spiel, when I'm a performer somewhere, when I'm being interviewed or whatever, I'll say shit like, okay, let's start with what I do, and then I'll ratter off 7 to 9 talk shows that I've produced and created, some of which I am a co-host, some of which I am the executive producer and the main host or only host. They're all in completely different areas as well. Hi, Glyza. Hi, baby. And then I'll be like, okay, and then I also Twitch. I stream indie games. I like specifically to showcase like queer indie made dating sims or monster fuckery. Ideally, both queer monster fuckery. That's an ideal situation for me. And I talk about game development And I design games, and I design TTRPGs, and also I design non-TTRPG games as well. Some of the games that are in this big stack here, not TTRPGs. Let me just grab this. This one's the biggest. This one's actually one of my biggest projects, which is why it has 80 bazillion notes on it. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Because I did color code this, but I don't always stick with it. We're not spring cleaning. We're talking about diversifying your portfolio in game design and why that is a strength and something you should not shy away from. Because my whole life, I have ADHD, in case that wasn't blatantly obvious by the everything about me all the time. I have ADHD, and I cannot stick with just one thing to save my fucking life. I really can't. And my whole life, I grew up with people saying that that's going to be a big problem later, and that's going to get in my way, and people are going to see me as like not trustworthy, not reliable, even though I'm delivering results. I'm delivering results all over across the board and all the things that I'm doing. They were like, you're not going to be able to just like hold something down. You're never going to find success if you're always all over the place. I think we can all agree that I have so far proven them very wrong. So there's that in general. But yeah, no worries. Ugh, I'm sorry you have ads. Rest in peace. I'll see you in a minute. But yeah, it's definitely not actually been the case IRL. Like, if anything, diversifying my portfolio, I'm going to take this off, is a good thing. My favorite thing about, so some of you might know, you might have seen that, like, I recently got signed on with the Jackson voiceover agency, like the voice talent agency, and I'm really, really excited to be a part of the Jackson agency. I'm very, very honored to be a part of the Jackson agency, and I'm very excited. And they have been fantastic. Like, really, they hit the ground running. I've had more auditions in the last 2 days than I've had in my entire life. It's been fantastic. It's been really, really fantastic. I'm very excited about all these things. Welcome back. And the first thing that they told me that really hit me at my core, where I was like, this is the place for me, this is right, was that they said that they really loved that I was interested and like that I had trained in doing everything. They were like, you do creature voices, that's fantastic. You do commercials, that's fantastic. Like, you do all the things. Is there anything you want to specialize in? And I said, no, I want to continue doing everything because it all brings me joy. And I'm like, I've worked very hard on all of it. And they were like, that is fantastic. We're so great. Like, that you have like such a diverse range. And I was like, that is the nicest fucking way to put that. Absolutely. It's not that I have trouble focusing. I don't have trouble focusing on a lot of things at once. Focusing on a lot of things at once makes me really happy. That's why we have all of this shit to go through. Every green note is a game. We're going to talk about all of them. But like it's a strength. Being able to diversify is a strength. Honestly, it's insane to me how many people will still say like, "Oh, you're all over the place," as if that's a bad thing. Yes, I have my irons in so many fires. There's no fucking way I'm not getting my shit fucking done. I don't know how to end that metaphor. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the result is of putting an iron in a fire. Blacksmithing's not one of my talents. It's not. It could be someday, maybe. Probably not. Let's be realistic. I'm kind of built like a twig, so that's probably not gonna happen. But it could. It's not impossible. Good old iron fires, right? Good old iron fires. I got a lot of irons in a lot of fires. I don't know if you're supposed to say that you have a lot of irons in one fire, or if you're supposed to say you have a lot of irons in a lot of fires. Unfortunate fire. Who fucking knows? Maybe I'll just play a blacksmith someday. That's the cool thing about acting. You don't have to do everything, but you can play, like, if you get lucky, you can play pretend that you're doing everything. That would be fun, right? I could do that. I could play pretend to be a blacksmith for sure. I don't know if anybody would buy it, but that's if I act my ass off, I can try it. I could be a blacksmith. Fuck yeah. I'll just play someone with muscles and pretend. Yes, absolutely. I think we've pulled all of them for the board is huge. The board continues. Everything yellow is a stream. Everything pink is a podcast. That's also not all my podcasts. That I stopped putting the podcasts on there once I hit 9 because it's simply too much. The shit in the corner is books. There's charity work at the bottom corner. This is a list of self-care so that I can like look at shit. Yes, don't you? Y'all, this used to be full, but I took all of the games off. All of the games, all of these. because we're gonna talk about them. Because I want to help. There are no strings because they're not connected. Leave me alone. And then, oh, this is actually also a game. Shit. Fuck. Ow. Too many pins, not enough time. So actually, the best thing is, it is. It really is. So heavy. I actually realized because I'm moving now, and I've been looking at this, it's not big enough. There's a lot of overlap on these boards. Shut up. They are not connected. Well, this is maybe all the Patoot cinematic universe. Yeah, let's call it that. This is all the Patoot cinematic universe. So I've actually realized that I don't have enough room on this board. It's quite big. I don't have enough room for all my shit. So in my Amazon cart, there's push pins that are like little clips. So you push them into the wall, but they're little like alligator clips, and a 300 pack of cards. And when I move, instead of having a cork board, I'm going to just delegate a whole wall to my shit. And all of my projects will just take up the wall because I need the space because I'm a very visual person. And one of the visual novels that I'm working on, I need to visually keep all of the threads that I have to program in RenP. I need to visually keep them apart so I can follow them step by step so they're color coded. So I need like a chunk of wall to plot out everything. And then this will all be spread out on the wall, and I'll be able to add on to it a lot easier. So actually I am upgrading from this board. Also, I don't think you can read it, but on this, there's a quote from the head bitch herself, Miss Piggy. Yes, the Muppet. That says, the more dreams you have, the more you can chase, the more fun you have every day. And that's how I approach diversifying my interests. And the cool thing is, I don't have to artificially diversify shit. This is just how my brain works. So, let's dive in to some games. I'm just going to give you guys some like brief overviews. You can ask questions. You're highly encouraged to do so. Miss Piggy is the best. I can't wait for us to watch more Muppets together. It brings me a lot of joy. Also, if anybody's wondering why I am dressed very differently from how I usually stream, it's because I saw a tweet that said, hey, females, you don't use your body in gaming streams. We're not here for that. So I'm going to talk about game dev with my tits out. And we're just going to look like that because I got annoyed. I got really annoyed by that shit. People are really stupid, and I fucking hate it. Let's see. Do we want to pull them at random? Is that what we want to do? Do you want to pull cards at random? Let me see. I don't know. Shuffle them. Okay, we're gonna do it at random. I'll look up. Okay. Oh! Okay, this is 1, 2... Here's the thing. I ran out of index cards. So this is 4 games. Because I just ran out of cards for them all to have their own card. As you can see that I ended up cutting them up. So this is 4 games. So we're gonna talk about all 4 games. These are all in development, by the way. Like, if they're gonna release hopefully this year. But like this particular sheet, this is not gonna start hitting shit until the summer. Also, these were originally supposed to be. Let's see, what are these? What are these? Okay. One of these is for kids, and it's currently untitled. But the note says something about those stories about Sassy, Buck, and April. Sassy and Buck are 2 foals, and April was a baby donkey on the rescue ranch that I grew up on. And they used to get into a lot of, like, genuine fucking hijinks where it felt like I was on the fucking, like, I don't know, Saddle Club, like, youth novel. Like, they got into so much shit, and they had such insanely humanized interactions with each other. They were very... Buck was a gelding, like a young male horse, and he was extremely tall, like, even for a foal, like, extremely tall, beautiful, all legs, gangly as shit, did not understand his own strength or size. Sassy was a paint, so she was a very beautiful, very small horse. She was a girl, and she was literally the devil. I think, dead ass. I think she was literally the devil. That bitch was fucking crazy. She was the ringleader of their little gang. They would always hang out together, those 3, because they were born at the same time. April was a donkey. April was stupid. I say this with all the love I could possibly have in my heart. This donkey had no brain cells. She was dumb. She was dumb.
but she had balls. No worries. The VOD will be up. You'll be able to catch it if you want. But yeah, that bitch had balls of steel. She would do anything. No hesitation whatsoever. It always looked like Sassy would come up with a plan and then bully them into doing it. Ugh, I feel you. They fucking. One time, I don't know how Sassy did it, but I know she did it. She broke into, like, the lock. See you later. She broke into the lock of the feed and tack room, and instead of getting into the feed, which was right there, but sealed, she got into our homemade fly spray, which is technically safe. It's non-toxic. It's mostly vinegar. And April unscrewed all of the tops of the caps, and we found them laying there groaning in the scene of the crime, surrounded by empty bottles because they drank it all. They were fine. They just had stomach aches. We were very worried, but they were really okay. They just drank them and gave themselves tummy aches and then stayed at the scene of the crime and had the audacity to look at us like, I don't feel well. And it's like, you did this to yourself. You 100% did this to yourself. And I have a bunch of stories around them. And when I was talking to my wonderful mod, you guys might be familiar with, Mitzi, at Pukapeku on Twitter, also a fabulous and talented game designer, Mitzi said you should really do something with that. Like you should write either like write little short stories of those like things, like put them in writing, or like maybe even make a game. And I was like, actually, I think it would be really, really cute if you got to play through these little adventures. I'm not sure if I will make it a tabletop game or if I will make it a video game because I also think it would be a really cute video game, like just a visual novel type video game, not like shooty video game. These are, after all, three small animals, and like childhood stories. So I'm still thinking about the venue for this, but I wrote it down. There is, oh boy, what does that say? I don't know what that word is. See, this is unfortunately also a byproduct of scribbling down your ideas really quickly. I don't know what that says. Uh, at the airport is the tagline. Game's name is Baggage Claim, a visual novel slash dating sim at the airport. I think that probably says romance at the airport. Who fucking knows? I don't know what that word is. I don't even recognize the full letters. I think that's an R. I don't know. But yeah, visual novel dating sim, born out of the concept of the opening and end scenes to Love Actually. That's it. I just have seen Love Actually so many times that when I watched it again, I was like, huh, what if Love Actually, but entirely in the airport? What if you get stuck at the airport? I like taking rom-com concepts that would be movies and then making them games because then everybody gets to be in the movie. So boom, that's Baggage Claim. Baggage Claim, since it's a visual novel, it's not going to be out for years, probably. Because I have another visual novel that is actually currently in development that will hopefully be closer to being released this winter, since we're already working on it. And I already have like the artists and everything. I just have to like actually start their commission and shit, but I'm still working on the coding and the storylines. So the one I'm currently working on won't release for a hot minute, hot minute. And then Baggage Claim will come afterwards because I don't want to work on two visual novels at the same time. Because I like sleep, as a concept. I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to have it. Eating, also a very good thing to have as a priority. And a life. I like having a life. So we're doing one visual novel at a time. I'm not fucking doing shit with this until I've locked up SBA, which is what I'm currently working on. Yeah, Sleep and Eat is good shit. It's really good shit. There's a game here that's called Teach Them Fear. I don't know what that is anymore. I don't know. I think it's a horror game. Obviously. I think I had it set. I really need to take more extensive notes, but it's actually cool to be able to come up with shit on the fly again. And then maybe it's the same game that I'd originally come up with. Maybe it's different. Who knows? It's part of the fun. So totally different from Romance Dating Sim. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I literally wrote that out. I was like, huh. It's a quote from something, actually. The true fear of not knowing what you created. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the fun thing. Actually, I know that it's a video game. I know that it's a video game. Um, This is a quote. Teach them fear is a quote from a TV show. I know that because I remember writing this down. I don't remember what TV show, and I don't remember the context. But if I remember correctly, I was thinking visual novel horror game because I just felt that the more controlled scenario of a video game fit better than creating a TTRPG where you have to have somebody else have, like hold the reins. And I thought with something like this where it's going to be very horror and very psychological horror, I didn't want to give a person that power. I'd rather put that power in a video game in a set structure that will not be vindictive to you personally, because I felt as a safety tool that just worked better, which is why I chose to develop this as a video game instead of as a TTRPG or a board game. Oh yeah, absolutely. I yell it past me. We established this yesterday when we called me Car Cat. Car Cat? Cack. Nope. Car. What's the Homestuck character's name? I didn't watch. Read? Do? Homestuck? Nope. Kakarot's fucking Dragon Ball Z. Cat? Sound like I'm having a stroke. There's a character in Homestuck that constantly yells at his past self, and like his past and present and like past and future selves constantly have beef. And I got compared to that yesterday because I saw a note past me had written, and I yelled at myself for a good minute because I was annoyed. So yeah, teach them fear, if I remember correctly, is shut up. I'm allowed to curse on my own streams. This is not monetized. I'm allowed to do this. I really love horror. I love working in horror. And if you want to bounce any ideas off this big ass forehead, you absolutely can. Please, please do. When Doja Cat said, "Can't call me stupid with this big ass fucking forehead," I was like, I felt that. I feel you. Car Cat. There we go. Yep, that's the name. I like how you said according to Google, as if perhaps you did not actually know, which is a good thing to say for Homestuck. You should distance yourself for sure. I get it socially. I did. I took that personally. I was like, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I also very much took personally, in a good way, the line that comes before that. I love Scoop. That whole song, Lil Nas X is an icon, and I really, really love him, and that's one of my favorite songs that he's released. And I was like, fuck yeah, I love Doja Cat. I love Lil Nas X. This is great. Scoop's one of my favorite songs. I've listened to it a million times. That's fair. Don't look into the abyss. The abyss for Homestuck is terrifying. Ooh, okay. The last game on this note is actually one that I'm working on next after I finish Stuck in Space and after I finish I Spy. It's called Skull Crusher. Whenever I say it, I'm struck by how cute my natural speaking voice is when I say shit with full enthusiasm. Skull Crusher! Isn't it cute? It's not supposed to just be cute. It is a funny game, though. This is a comedy game about henchmen. If anybody here has seen Austin Powers, they know this like gag of like unnamed like evil henchmen have like families that they like if you kill them like they just don't go home to those families ever again, like they get a call, like they're real people, henchmen are real people. And that is a really funny gag from Austin Powers that I really like, because it was just a fun way of thinking. So Skull Crusher, the tagline is, why do you crush skulls? Why? And Skull Crusher is going to be about you are Skull Crusher, crusher of skulls. But who is Skull Crusher really? It's a micro RPG. It might even be a solo micro RPG because I haven't actually officially released a solo game yet. I did finish the solo version of Snugglebuck. I haven't released it because I'm forgetful, and I thought I had, but I realized today I was like, I never published it at all. I never published it. Oops. So yeah, I'll be publishing that today, but I don't actually have a designated solo RPG or solo micro RPG. So Skull Crusher is going to be a solo, I think, RPG that I'll design live as well. Like I'll share that with you guys because I know one of the requests that I get for game dev stuff is to show you guys how I create solo playthroughs and solo games. So Skull Crusher, why do you crush skulls? You are going to play as the henchman slash the Skull Crusher extraordinaire themselves, and we're going to explore through prompts and dice why you crush skulls. what your day-to-day looks like when you're done crushing skulls. How did you become Skull Crusher? Why is it Skull Crusher and not Femur Crusher, Foot Crusher, Tummy Crusher? Do you want to be Skull Crusher? Do you like being Skull Crusher? How does being Skull Crusher affect your private life? Is there a Mrs. Skull Crusher? Is there a Mr. Skull Crusher? What is the scenario for family Skull Crusher? Are there tiny Skull Crushers? Are they teeth crushers? What? A billion questions. It's going to be a very cute, very like tongue-in-cheek humor type game, and I'm very excited about. That is also a huge departure from anything that I've done before because I have not actually developed journaling type games and I have not worked on a lot of solo RPGs before. So, except like to adapt stuff to solo play, but to create something that is explicitly solo play is something that I haven't done before. Yeah, I had a lot of student loan debt and the internet paid a lot for the videos. It's an extremely valid version of like a storyline that you might start out with as Skull Crusher. I also, the reason that I came up with this game is because I sometimes my brain will just give me snippets of words with no context. They just pop in like intrusive thoughts, but they're harmless because they're literally just nonsense. Nonsense. One of my most kudos, most like subscribed to, and my most popular and most successful work I've ever written of like fiction is called White Chocolate Lemons. It has nothing to do with white chocolate or lemons at all. Nothing. Has nothing to do with it. It's catchy as shit though. And everybody knows exactly what it is. It's stuck in everybody's memory immediately. It was great marketing. But like people will always ask me, why is it called white chocolate lemons? What is the meaning? There is no meaning. I thought of the phrase white chocolate lemons randomly one day and I saved it. And then when I wrote this and I didn't have a title for it, I thought, you know what? It feels right. The vibe is correct. The vibes match. This is now called white chocolate lemons. And it's one of my most successful pieces of work. It's not even done, but there's like it's very people are very nice about it. There's like 500 people subscribed to it, which is a lot for somebody that only started publishing fiction in August, I think is when I started, or maybe June, I think I started. So I'm very pleased with that one. I'm really happy that so many people love it, and it's had, I think it alone has had about 20,000 readers, but I don't remember. But I am, and like a bunch of bookmarks and shit. I lost count of a lot of its statistics a while ago, but like it was very flattering, the response to it. I don't fully remember them anymore. I'll probably look them up later because like it's just good to know. But it's very nice. But like that's why I came up with Skull Crusher. I just thought of the word Skull Crusher, and then I was like, huh, what's that? I ask myself this, by the way, fully serious, expecting an answer. And I do get them sometimes. Like, I will literally be like, huh, what's that? And then I come up with what it is. Sometimes that's how game development works. You have like an intrusive, harmless thought and go, huh, let's follow this somewhere. Where does it go? And Skull Crusher just sounded like a really cool 80s henchman. Skull Crusher sounded like a villain in He-Man. So I was like, who is Skull Crusher? And then I was like, maybe that's the game. Who is Skull Crusher? Why is Skull Crusher? How is Skull Crusher doing? And that's how I created what will this summer, hopefully, be Skull Crusher. Why do you crush skulls? Journaling game. Solo RPG, micro RPG, done. Alright. Yeah, sometimes you have to have a committee meeting and check with what's happening. I once saw a TikTok from this like butch lesbian who was like, if you're arguing with your girl and she starts laughing and talking to herself, don't say anything. That's her and the demons having a little committee meeting on how to beat your ass. And I was like, oh, yep, pretty much. I do hope Skull Crusher is having a good day. Maybe that'll be how the game ends, is making sure Skull Crusher does some self-care and takes care of themselves. Okay. All right. This game, one game, it's called Offerings. This is actually a game that I created before I created Verhex nochmal, which some of you might know is my first TTRPG that I had published, and to date, my most successful TTRPG that I published. I'm so proud of Verhex nochmal. Hi, Vivo. I'm so proud of that game. I'm actually submitting it to something Jack tagged me in today where people are looking to fund expansions of games. And I would really, really love to create physical game and expand on Verhex nochmal because I literally have like mood boards and mood boards of art for the game book, for an actual one. For the settings, I have expansions, I have notes, I have everything ready already for this expansion. I just did not have a venue for it, but now I do, and I will actually be working on that one, on workshopping that one there in that context. We'll all keep our fingers crossed and support it, right? Thank you. So this game is called Offerings, and this is from the same place that I created Fehex nochmal. I created Fehex nochmal, aka Curses. I thought of the English title after I'd already published it and it blew up, and I was like, oh, fuck me. That would have worked really nicely, but I couldn't think in English at the time. I was really tired. I'd been working on the game nonstop for days, and I was like, well, German it is. So I also grew up like in Germany. That was a big part of like the culture behind the game is witchcraft in Germany is depending on where you're from. I'm from the Black Forest. It's more a part of history than a fairy tale is the way that people treat it culturally. Like it's just stories that you grow up hearing, relatively normal. And it's seen as a more natural, chill thing. It's not really a big deal. So from that, growing up in the Black Forest like I did, there is something that I actually started writing this game before I did Fehex nochmal. It's just that Fehex nochmal really took over my brain and flowed very easily versus this game that gave me shit and problems. It's still not finished. This one I had to walk away from a little bit because I was like, you're making me, I think, develop and then bust a blood vessel in my forehead. So I need to take a step back. But this game is based off of the same type of thing. So Verhex nochmal is based off of the stories that I heard when I was growing up about witches. And like their hijinks and their adventures and their day-to-day lives and the humanity of them and the silliness that can come from these kinds of things. And the setting for Verhex nochmal is based off of the old coping mechanism that I learned because I've had chronic nightmares most of my life. I'm not like Stephen Kingish with it. Poor fuck. Jesus Christ. But like I do get them relatively often, not so much anymore, but I did get them extremely often, especially when I was younger. And the way that I was taught to deal with those is that you would calm down first, go back into the dream in your head, like think about it, put yourself back into it mentally, imagine it, and then fix it and make it silly, make it fun. Really. And that works wonders, and I do it automatically now. I don't even have to actively do that anymore, which is another reason why I don't have nightmares that much anymore. But those silly, fun, La La Land type settings, which is what that's what I called the fictional place in my head when I was a kid. It looks a lot like Candyland on a cloud that's made of cotton candy. It's very silly. And those are the things that inspired Verhex nochmal, like stories from my childhood. Offerings is based off of something that I used to do when I was a kid. If you're German, you will know the national pastime is not soccer. The national pastime is fucking hiking. I've been hiking since I could walk. I love hiking, makes me very happy. I don't like hiking here because nothing here is green, and frankly, it freaks me out. I'm not used to it, and I'm not a fan. I can't wait to be in an area that has grass and moisture. Can't wait. I'm so excited. To see a tree? Ugh, I'll die. But like, I grew up hiking in the Black Forest, casually all the time. I love hiking so much. It makes me so happy. I get it. It's hard. To be fair, if I'm in a flare up and I'm in a wheelchair, I'm also not fucking hiking. Because hiking in a wheelchair is fucking annoying and frankly dangerous. So if I'm having flare ups, which I do now more often than I'm older, I don't get to go hiking that much. When I do and I'm capable of doing it, it makes me really happy. But I grew up doing it, and when I was younger, I did not need a wheelchair, so obviously that was something I could easily do. And I grew up in an area that's very humid. Moss everywhere. Truly, on everything. You stand in one place too long, moss. It's everywhere. That shit is all over the place. I grew up with the Black Forest, the moss, the big, like, cold, beautiful, like, rocks, chunky, like, rock faces and climbing shit. Like, it's all over the place. And something that we would do as a tradition while we were hiking is a very cultural, like, specific thing where we would create fairy houses in rocks. So if there's like a boulder, and I mean like dead ass, like twice the size of the Shrek, I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder. Way bigger than that thing. Big ass jagged like boulders all over the place in the forest. And what we would do is we'd find a nice boulder. I'm dead serious. We'd find a nice boulder and we'd spend about an hour to 2 hours decorating it like a dollhouse, but with natural stuff. Like we would like gently pull up thin moss for the carpet and like lay it down, and we would separate it into little rooms in this like jagged little formation that was there. We just like we'd make like little chairs and tables out of like twigs and leaves. We'd make little beds and like little like we'd cut like little like leaf shapes for like the bed linens and shit. Like we would make whole little natural dollhouses that are completely environmentally friendly because they're made entirely out of things that either biodegrade quickly or that you pulled from the forest itself. And it's an offering. It's something to leave as like a thank you that, you know, we didn't get lost and we didn't die. And to make sure we continued not getting lost and dying. And the Black Forest is one of the most mythology-rich forests on the planet, including fairies. So we were like, thank you for not leading us astray, eating us, or killing us. That was really sick of you. Thanks for doing that. Here's a house. And of course, mostly it's a nice thing to do with a kid. Imagination games are always nice things to do with kids. They always create great memories. They encourage creativity with kids. Like it's really, really sweet. And it was just a sweet thing that I remember doing when I was a kid. But since I'd already gamified some of the aspects of the things that I grew up with, like I was working on this. And in this one, I wasn't sure if you should play. So I knew for a fact you'd play as like the person creating this offering, this house. But it seems to me that I think offerings would work best not as a TTRPG, but as a solo journaling RPG and creative exercise. Because what the hell is a win mechanic here? You know, there's no shenanigans to get into. The whole point is you're creating this offering to avoid shenanigans. So that was where I got stuck with the mechanics. But now that I've worked more on solo stuff, I think when I reapproach this one again, I will be developing it as a solo RPG, like a journaling thing, or you know, verbal, whatever the hell your version of a solo RPG is. Oh yeah, look, hiking is not for everyone. And also, like, I have a lot of like health things where like I don't think I could do it as well as I used to either, but I do really love it. Although I have to be careful because some places have allergens that I've never been exposed to before, and the last thing I need is to get a fucking allergy attack. But yeah, I really like journaling stuff that you can share with people. I think that would be fun. So this might become a collaborative storytelling thing. hmm So I'm thinking this will be something either solo to make. I think this could also be a good listen to the vocal cords. I have to read a lot for auditions later, so I'm trying not to shred my voice entirely. But I think this could be a very nice calming anti-anxiety exercise to do solo because coming up with nice stories will genuinely fully take over the entirety of your brain and the processes that it can do and distract you, which will usually calm you down inherently, which is another reason why like you're supposed to count to 10 when you're angry or count to 100 if you're me and you're angry. Or count to 10 over and over because it takes your attention off of what's upsetting you and it gives your body a chance to calm down and gives you a chance to calm down. So I think this could be a very sweet thing to do solo. What I really imagine this for, actually, is for kids and parents, because those are some of my happiest memories from when I was a kid, making those houses and the stories that we would come up with for like what kind of fairy would live in this house. You know, like those kinds of things. Like for Hexnochma, I really hope a lot of parents play Hexnochma with their kids. I really, really think, especially little kids. I think it would be very sweet. It's cool. It's a cool way to get them into the games and into playing games. But mostly it's collaborative storytelling, which is what TTRPGs typically are. So I think I really wanted to make at least this game and Facts Nochmal that are like actively family friendly games that you can play with little kids. Because the more happy memories little kids have, the better. And if I can contribute to that without having my own little one, I would want to do that. So, like, you bet your ass, once my niece can speak, we're playing these games. I'm doing this shit with her. She's not gonna be able to avoid it, frankly. Because she'll barely be able to speak. It's fine. It'll work. So, what I would really like for this, and of course, I think self-care doesn't have an age limit. I think the core of why I think parents should play, I would want parents to play this game with their kids, is the same idea behind like why I think you should do it with your friends, is because community isn't something you age out of. It's something you will always need. And sharing a pretty nice story with each other is a universally beloved experience that we all do in our own way, shape, or form. So, Offerings is going to be specifically designed to be kid friendly. and beginner, like very easy on any mechanics whatsoever. It really is just like mechanics that will help you determine what materials you start out with and maybe what your environment looks like. And then like you'll be able to go from there and create your little house and create your little story together. It's also a very cool creative thing because there's a lot of ways you can actually make this physically creative. Like you could play this with your kid, and then if you ever go hiking together, you can make a goddamn fucking fairy house. I won't stop you. It's a nice thing to do. It's not culturally appropriative. It's an open practice thing, and it's a kind thing. It's a kind, harmless thing to do that doesn't hurt anything or anybody. Um, I'm very, very highly aware of that when I make games in this sphere specifically because like I grew up in a culture that has a lot of respect for both nature and like the concept of magic, things like that. So I would like to do that. But yes, 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 please do that. But yeah, so I'm gonna be working on offerings after I finish like these two games, and I want to, and I'll be working on this like on the side, like very chill, because I want the energy that I put into this to also like I don't want it to stress me out. So I want to make this a kid-friendly game, solo game. So it's completely different from the original like mechanics that I've been kind of working with because I hadn't quite like branched out the different types of games that I make. But yes, I will run this by you as soon as it has things to be. Ooh, hello, hello, hello. Hi, that's a cool name. Hi, Mad Dog Monty. Hi, hello. So yes, that's Offerings. Completely different game from any of the games that we've just talked about, as this will continue to happen with all the shit that we're talking about. So, random game. Let's see. I used to be able to shuffle shit really nicely, but then I broke my hands several times. Now I cannot do that shit anymore. That's okay. Maybe you'll think of something. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this because I actually just talked about this one recently, so I'm gonna put this at the bottom. And we'll do that one probably last because you guys are probably sick of hearing about it. This is not a TTRPG. This is not a board game. This is not a video game. This is actually something that should probably take me about 10 minutes to make. Haven't done it. Haven't done it. It's called Shufflemancy Spreads. And Shufflemancy is a form of divination that uses music. So it's something, it's a very modern form, quote unquote, of like divination. Like tarot is a form of divination for people that are like confused. Yeah, I do mean that in divination. So a spread in tarot is, for example, you can have a preset spread of like, let's say you have a card here, a card here, a card here, and a card here, or a space. And the spread is, how do you feel like you ask a question typically in tarot? Like you ask a question of like, the issue is like, I'm having trouble communicating with my partner and I don't know how to go forward from here. Help. SOS. Top card spread could be, if you set it up, you could say like this top card space, the first one that I draw, is how are you dealing with this? Like what's your current state? Bottom card, how is your partner or the object of this dealing with this current state? Left, what should you do in order to help support your inner state? Right card, last card, what can you do to help bridge this gap with your partner? That's a spread. So when you pull the cards in the order of the spread, you put them down, you can interpret them according to the context that you've asked the question in. Does everybody do tarot? No. Should everybody do tarot? No, absolutely not. It's totally fine. I grew up with that stuff. Like I said, I grew up with a lot of this stuff as just a part of. I actually didn't even know that not everybody did this shit because I just grew up with it being so natural. I never questioned it. Shufflemancy is what I do. I don't actually do tarot myself. I trust other people occasionally do it with me. I don't have my own deck, and I don't lay cards for people. That's not what I do. That's not something that I've ever felt drawn to do, and it's not something that I feel particularly talented in. So I don't draw cards for other people. But personally, I do shufflemancy. Why? It feels nice. It just feels nice. Feels like a cool way to interpret the universe. Does it have to mean anything intrinsically? Nah. Do I think that everybody should believe in it? Nah, I really don't give a fuck. I don't care. This is what I do. And it's also something that I got into even more because my mom passed away when I was 22. Don't say you're sorry, I will ban you from the chat. I'm not kidding. She passed away when I was 22. And music's always been a very, very important thing to me, and been a great way of how I communicate with the world and how I process things and how I deal with stress. If I lose my voice for more than 2 days, so I can't sing at all, I get legitimately depressed. That is how big music is in my life. If I'm not streaming, I have music on 24/7. I do not like the quiet. I need to have my own music on all the time. So, shufflemancy is pretty much in the name, where you get to like you grab ideally like originally this came on because of iPod shuffles, right? You have a whole library of music on there. You have zero control over what comes up, like none. You can't even see the songs. It's a remote control with a fucking headphone jack. That's it. So shufflemancy is the process of like saying you need something, asking a question, whatever, like asking for advice, whatever you want. Same thing as with tarot. And then putting your entire music library on shuffle. And sometimes it's the title that'll really hit you. Sometimes it's the content. Sometimes it's specific lyrics. Sometimes it can be really fucking on the nose. One time, we don't have TMIs on this, and frankly, I'm not ashamed of this. I was crying in my car, as people do. At some point, pretty much everybody's gonna cry in their car once. It happens. Okay, sometimes you gotta cry. You're in your car. It's okay. I was very stressed out. So this was quite a few years ago. I was very stressed out, and I'm a human being, and dead ass. I was just like, I want to talk to my mom. Like I wish I could talk to her right now because I'm really upset. I don't know who to talk to, and I don't know what to do. And I had my radio off because I was crying, and I didn't necessarily want background fucking noise while I was crying. I didn't want this to be cinematic. I was just upset, and I was just out loud. I was just like, I really wish I could talk to her right now about this. And I turned the radio on, and immediately, even though the song has never played on any radio I've ever heard, the song "This Isn't Everything You Are," which is one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's very much the mood is very much the title of the song. It's an extremely explicitly comforting song by Snow Patrol, my favorite band. Well, tied favorite band. Snow Patrol, Lifehouse, the Dolly Rots are my favorite bands. They are all up there together. Right next to it, number 2 is Blink-182. I'm a very simple bitch. But that song came on, and I felt very comforted, and I was like, man, thanks. I needed that. Thank you. And frankly, sometimes even if you don't think anything is communicating with you, it can be really fun to do these spreads because at the very least, you're communicating with you. And if something inspires a thought process or is the thing that gives you the push to be able to look at something at a different viewpoint or look at something the way it needs to be viewed, cool. And I wanted to make a pack of spreads that you can make, that you can use for shufflemancy. So technically, this is a game, kind of like a Ouija board is a game, except not as cursed and fucked up as a Ouija board, because you wouldn't catch me dead fucking with that shit. Absolutely not. If anybody brings that shit around me, I will immediately leave. I am not fucking with that shit. I don't mess with that shit. I just say it because technically Ouija board is supposed to be a game. So this is a game in the way that that is a game. These are spreads. They're going to be printables. You can get them on my itch once I do them. Once I figure out exactly how I want to structure them, and then I will be releasing them as printables on my itch. They're not TTRPGs, they're not micro RPGs, they're not video games. It's a spread. It's a game. Exactly. Exactly. That is what evil wants you to think. I also refuse to play Jumanji. Like the board game, the actual one based off of the I refuse to play Jumanji. Categorically, you're not catching me with that shit. No, I won't do it. I won't do it. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I will not play Jumanji. You cannot make me. Yeah. One of my friends played it at Kate. She played it for New Year's with her family, and I was like, okay, you better yell that thing real loud when the fucking clock strikes. I don't know if I would fuck with that right now, but all right. The way the world's been going, I don't know, but okay. Okay. All right. Jumanji, I think, is exactly what you would do if you gamified white people's audacity. And I don't mean in a racist way, I mean in a I'll pet a tiger for fun way. That that is what I see Jumanji as. Jumanji No, Jumanji is what happens when white people decide that zoos are pet shops. That's what that feels like to me, that game. Mm-mm. Literally fucking around and finding out with no regard to their own safety and then being shocked when their safety is threatened. And it's like, what did you think was gonna happen? What did you think? What did you think was gonna happen? You're messing with a tiger and it bit you, and now you want to put the tiger down. The tiger is confused why its lunch is yelling at it. That's what's fucking happening for the tiger. Yeah, I don't. Oh my god, I forgot to do that. My phone would have. My bad. I forgot to do that. It fucking fell at the beginning, in the beginning of the stream, and I never, ever, ever picked it up, and it just like beeped, and I was like, why did you beep? Oh no! Aw, my baby cousin texted me. What a cutie. But yeah, Jumanji is what happens when white people fuck around and find out. And I'm not about that life. I'm not about it. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand the need to touch dangerous animals. I don't understand the need to have pets that are not pets. You won't see anybody else decide, oh yeah, let me hug a bear. No, the fuck? I fully understand why monkeys throw shit at people. If you fucked with me in my turf and throwing shit was socially acceptable, I would also be doing that shit. I fully understand why they do that. Yeah, fair. Is yeah, if you look at actual Darwin Award winners, I'm just gonna say you'll see a pattern. That's all I'm gonna say. So many quotes in one stream. I know. This game, I'm actually developing with Mitzi, aka Pukupeku. It's called Therapy Battleship. If you guys have played my game, you haven't. If you guys had played my game, Euphoria, which you can get for free, it's free. It's a fucking free. It's a game about gender euphoria and gender envy in a positive light as a positive, uniquely trans experience that we should celebrate. And we should be able to take joy in and share with our loved ones and share with our friends and other trans friends specifically. So, Euphoria is what I like to call gender envy battleship bingo. And it was actually I got interviewed by the gender studies department of the Central College in London because they actually paid me to make that game after I'd made it. They paid me to make that game, and they used it in their research department, which I was very flattered by. And yesterday I gave a 2 hour long interview um, talking about the game and the development of the game and the process behind it. And it was really, really nice. Words do indeed mean things, but you got it though, didn't you? You fucking understood immediately. You were like, ah, I know what this is. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Euphoria is honestly one of the games that I've made that's most close to my heart because it's something that like has created a lot of really beautiful memories between me and my friends playing it. Livia and I played it together and filmed it. We're never gonna publish it. That was just because the college in London paid me to make to make a gameplay video of it for their research, and I said, "Fuck yeah, Livia, do you want to do this shit with me?" And she said, "Yes." And we played it together, and honestly, it's one of my favorite memories of us. Period. Which says a lot because we talk every day and work on several things together. But like that is one of my favorite memories together because it was just a really fun time to be able to share about being gender fluid and like our own trans identity and like share the things that give us gender envy and like things that give us gender euphoria. And it was just a really fun, lighthearted game to play that I think can also be a really great tool for like sharing that part of yourself with your friends. If your friends are, for example, maybe not trans. Although we do tend to flock together, I think most of my friends are trans. I'm frankly, I struggle to think of cis friends. I know they're there. I know they're, and I love them. I love them very much. I struggle to think of any right now. Really. Yeah, I don't know. So we just tend to flock together. But, you know, you meet new people. You might want to share that stuff with them in a way that is safe, like games give you a framework to do. Therapy Battleship, born out of a very similar concept, where instead of sharing about your trans identity, you share about mental health. But you also do this with friends because you're roasting each other. So the concept for Therapy Battleship is you have a little bingo board, little battleship bingo board, little grid. You fill in shit about yourself, like can't sleep more than 2 days in a row without having insomnia, or and you get to roast yourself. This is something you should only play with people that you are close to, or your family, or your friends. Unless in which case you have balls and I admire you. I'd probably do it too, but like we've established that metaphorically I have massive balls. So, kudos. But or like can't say no to a project, always working on too many things at once. I was of course the guinea pig for this as well. So like they're gonna hit. And it's often like because your friends will have like they know you. They will call you out when you do shit or like daddy issues, straight up, just fatherless behavior. Fucking shit that you friends can say to you and about you that is not hurtful because you know it doesn't come from a hurtful, malicious place. And it's probably also true for them. And the battleship part comes in where they try to guess what you wrote on your sheet about yourself. You'll learn a lot about both yourself and the way you are perceived by the people close to you in this game, which I think can prompt some very fun and some very important conversations. It's called Therapy Battleship. I'm just working on the gameplay aspects. Mitzi is also working on like then helping make it digital so it's more accessible so you don't have to just like print it out and play it. You can play it digitally or online as well. And then we're hoping to partner up with something like BetterHelp to have like them, help sponsor it. And then, well, you should play Euphoria. But also this is you and me playing this game. It's gonna turn into the intensity of Uno very quickly, which is fun. Doesn't everybody play Uno with their friends because they kind of want the warlike scenario and vibes to come up? It's funny. It's in a controlled setting. It's safe. It's not real. The antagonism isn't real, and so it's fun because it's a game. So yeah, that's Therapy Battleship. We're working on Therapy Battleship right now. I hope to partner with something where the proceeds for the game, or at least a percentage of the proceeds, would go towards something like a local mental like health initiative. I'd probably talk to Cassie, TBH. Cassie's probably the person to talk to about this, who would know some good like or more indie organizations because I don't think BetterHelp needs my fucking donations. I think BetterHelp is fucking fine. Also, BetterHelp iffy organization sometimes. But like, yes, we will. We can play test it while it's still dangerous and not finalized. But that would actually be super helpful. I will hit you up about that. Because while I'm developing like the mechanics part, like I want to make sure that it actually like plays well. I never play tested Euphoria until I did so on camera, and it play tested perfectly. So thank fuck, fuck for that. But that was also a little bit like planning on my part for sure, but also luck. Am I just a good game designer? Probably, but I was also very lucky that it does end up playing exactly how I wanted it to. So I have faith in this one. But I'd like the proceeds for this game specifically to go to a subsidized mental health organization or community mental health organization, something like that. Let me drink real quick so that I don't fuck up my voice for my auditions later. I talked a lot yesterday. Shocker, I know. You should consider playtesting games as something wildly dangerous and chemical. 110%. Okay. All right, fucking. I'm really excited about this. I don't know if you guys can see it. I know it's mirrored. This is The Ring 2.0. I was inspired by Doki Doki Literature Club. I have a lot of feelings about Doki Doki Literature Club. First off, a lot of them are trauma. That shit fucking scared shit out of me. Ah, yes, this mechanic right here could take out a whole house. Absolutely. Hi, Sphinx. But yeah, so this is a visual novel, The Ring 2.0. The Ring, initially, for those that are not familiar with it, is supposed to be the whole, like, you watch the video, you're gonna die in 7 days, 10 days. I don't even remember. Yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club inspired me in a way that I didn't realize how interactively, like, how horrifying it can be when you interact with the horror medium and it interacts with you back. Horrifying. That shit made me paranoid. Like it was a lot. That game was a lot. It was very intense. I didn't think it was going to be the way that it was. I did get trigger warnings. My friends are not assholes. They gave me all the trigger warnings. I didn't take them seriously, which is fully my bad. That is 100% on me. That's not on my friends. My friends warned me. I thought they were exaggerating. My bad. I told them this too. They were horrified. They were like, no, why the fuck would we exaggerate? I was like, I don't know. It looked harmless, which I know is the point, but like, it looked harmless. I thought it was harmless. I was wrong. That happens sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes. I'm joking. I have not seen the theories about that game because I stayed the fuck away from it because it scared the shit out of me. I played it through once, done. Done. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do that ever again. That game fucked me up. I did not have a fun time. I didn't want to do that again. So no, I don't know anything about the theories of the game. I'm good. I'm done. It freaked me out. Yeah, exactly. This is where this comes in. Because here's the thing. I love horror. I love being consensually scared. I did like Doki Doki Literature Club. The way that it's done is very clever. I thought it was incredibly intelligent. But I finished it, but it was very fucked up. But it's got some spots, like the doxing, for example, and the dead naming. That's pretty shit. There were definitely no trans people in the room when that was designed. That's for fucking sure. Which is also, by the way, why there is no VOD of me playing the second half of the game. Because I deleted that shit immediately. Because yeah, no, fuck no. The Ring, yeah, it's the game doxes you at the end because obviously you pick a name when you're playing it, and like Clover, I think I picked Clover, but it takes the metadata from either your Steam account or your computer, depending on how you got the game, and it will take the name that you have put on the computer's owner, like the admin for the computer, at the end, and use that instead. That's extremely shit for many reasons. So a lot of trans gamers got dead named on their streams. I got doxxed on my stream, although luckily, at the time, the only people watching the stream either looked away because they're very nice or already knew it. So luckily it was fine, but that's why there's no VOD. Because a lot more people watch my VODs than are able to catch my live streams, and I was like, fuck no. So there's only a VOD for the first half of me playing that game, but there's no VOD anywhere for the second half. I deleted it immediately. So, and I also luckily didn't get fully doxxed because for some fucking reason it only took half of the name on my Steam account. Not the whole thing. I think it was a glitch. Thank God. But there's really only so many ways, names can end. It's not like hard for people to figure out how that probably ended. But the Ring, I thought was really interesting to take that meta concept and have me play through the game as if instead of being in a VHS tape, the Ring is in the game. So this is a visual novel. It's going to be a horror, like psychological horror visual novel. I don't want it to be necessarily super cutesy. I'm not trying to be Doki Doki Literature Club. This is still going to be in its entirely own aesthetic. Also, to be fair, I don't think I'll be able to sell this game because I don't own the rights to the fucking Ring. But I can make it. And we'll see. We'll see about distribution. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll just fucking pitch it to them and they'll give it to me. But, yeah. But I really like the idea of making The Ring into a visual novel and having that be a way to continue that franchise. Because, like, now, what are you gonna do to continue it? It's a Blu-ray. Crack a disc, done. It's not as interactive. It's not as creepy. It's the same as a VHS. It's not an escalation. I think when you make sequels of something, or when you make a reboot of something, if it is not an escalation, like a total escalation from the beginning, don't do it. There's no point. Why are you you're just doing the same thing again? What's the point? I had a Blu-ray player. Unfortunately, I don't want to have one. I wanted to just have a DVD player. But my ex refused to let me buy DVDs. Ugh. The concept that I ever let anybody tell me what I could and couldn't do is beyond me. I don't have a PlayStation. I don't have any game consoles except the Switch Lite. I have jack shit. But I have a lot of Blu-rays because he wouldn't let me just buy the DVD version even though it's cheaper. And now I have a bunch of fucking Blu-rays that you can't play on a DVD player. So when I eventually get something again, I'll have to get something that plays Blu-rays. because I can no longer just buy a DVD player because most of my shit's now on Blu-ray. Which is also stupid because I have horrible eyesight. I can't see the fucking difference between a DVD player and a Blu-ray. And people, every time I say that, they're like, look at this, I'll show you. And I'm like, did you not listen to me? I can't see it. I cannot see the difference. I really can't. And they've showed it to me. I don't see a difference. I don't see a difference. Plus, my TV is maybe 25 inches. I don't think the TV can see the difference between a DVD and a Blu-ray player. So I certainly can't see the difference between playing the DVD and the Blu-ray. I just think one of them is unnecessarily expensive. I prefer DVDs. I prefer streaming, but like I prefer DVDs if I have to have like a specific thing. But I just thought if you're gonna really like build on something like The Ring, you should do something totally different. Visual novel. Totally different. A video game that is interactive, that has choices you can make, different outcomes. Maybe you're trying to avoid hitting your expiration date in 7 days. I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on this. It still has a lot of notes that are very messy. But like, that's this. Totally different from everything else that we've talked about so far. Which again, my point of all of this, don't be like scared to diversify or do things that are totally out of your like quote unquote wheelhouse that people have put you in or that people think you should be in. Do your own thing. If you have a creative idea, it's a creative idea. Who cares if you've never done anything like that before? Even if you've released 11 cutesy ass games and then you come up with something brutally horror and like terrifying, who fucking cares? Make it. You'll find an audience. There's an audience for everything. And if anything, it'll just expand your audience. Or you'll discover that a lot of them like that shit also. Like, there's no fucking downsides to diversifying. None. Alright. Okay. Oof. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10 games. Oops. 10 games. You guys have seen me talk about these publicly because these are games that I came up with the TTRPG title generator. And then I was inspired and I wrote it down. Woo! Okay, let's see. Handwriting is atrocious. So one of the words is himbo. That's promising. I got it. We who seek himbos. This is a fraternity TTRPG that I thought of. And I based it off of the one and only frat party I've ever been to. And the last one I'll ever go to. Because holy shit. But I was happy to finally get my American Pie experience because I'm not American and I really expected that to be a little bit more realistic. It's not. It's very boring in real life. But I did manage to go to one frat party that really was just like an American Pie. So I got to live my fantasy a little bit. I did some messy shit at that party too, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not doing that again. Anyway, that followed me for months. That, the guy, nightmare. Ugh. Giant, so that's a fraternity, TTRPG, like a micro TTRPG. You're looking for one specific himbo. You met him at a frat party. He's harmless. He's a himbo. He drinks his respect people juice. But you don't fully remember his name. You don't fully remember what he looked like. But you do remember he was at this fraternity. So you're kind of detectiving your way through this giant goddamn frat house to find your himbo. There you go. I just came up with that, by the way. That was not, I didn't have an initial plan for that. I just came up with that. And you know what? I like it. No worries. Thanks for hanging out. If you've texted me about the title, I will text you back later. But yeah, it's kind of like Himbo Clue. I'm gonna write that down because I know I had a good, like, the idea and I like it. So I'm gonna fucking write that shit down. So this is probably a two-person game. GM, person is looking for Himbo. Let's see. And the GM will play all the NPCs. Thank you. Thank you. Beefy Castle Dracula. Nice. Castlevania, the plot. Anyway, apart from that, no, Beefy Castle Dracula. It was a little inspired by, like, I did write it down because I was like, Castlevania. Beefy Castle Dracula. I think you play as the vampire. That's what I'm thinking. You play as the vampire. You're a very buff, nice little Dracula, which means you're very popular with the townsfolk. You kind of have to beat them off the stick, which, that could be the game. You gotta beat these bitches off with a stick. Maybe, because your beefy Dracula ass has your eye on another beefy Dracula ass. And you're really just getting more buff to see if you can impress them. So, I'm thinking, this is two beefy castle Draculas, like beefy ass fucking vampires. We're just trying to court each other, but they don't know if the other person's interested. So it's a lot of like hijinks that you get to role play through until you get to actually managing to get a date with each other. And in between it, there's a bunch of people that are trying to fucking date your asses and you're not fucking interested or you don't even notice. And there's a lot of like little hijinks and things that like kind of go wrong or are miscommunicated. Kind of like how there's that game in what's it called in English? What's it called in the game where you whisper something in someone's ear and it goes around in a circle and it comes back all fucked up and weird? In German, it's called Flüsterpost. Van Helsing can be a persistent X. Telephone. Telephone? Alright. I'll give it to you. I'll let you have it, but I think it's weird. Whisper mail sounds a lot better in my head, because that's Flüsterpost. I'm just writing this shit down. Immediately when I talked about this game, all I can think about is Danny and how much I think Danny would like playing this game. I just really think it'd be right up his alley. I think he'd love it. I think he'd really love it. I hope so, at least. It's right up his brand, at least. Hopefully I'll finish that one because it's a micro. Hopefully I'll finish that one by Halloween. One thing that I want to do, because a lot of these are micro TTRPGs, and I will do my best to make sure they stay micro TTRPGs, but like, I really want to take like a week and hammer out a bunch of these games and just drop like 7 games. Gay a day. Game a day. Game a day. Game a day. Man. That was the Freudian slip of my life. Gay a day. Just a gay a day. That's it. I certainly gay every day. A gay a day keeps the, I don't know, away. Ugliness? Boredom? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I would like, initially, like something like this. I don't know, I'm gay. We're doing great jobs of keeping it away from us. Whatever it is. It's working. It's working. We're successful. Maybe one day, maybe that's a TTRPG too. You're a gay a day. You're keeping something away. One day, maybe, it's no longer gonna stay away. What is it? We don't know. Stop it. Stop making extra games. You have too many. Down. But yeah, so in Beefy Castle Dracula, you're two beefy vamps, two little vampy himbos, if you will, just being real gay and trying to court each other. But I think I want to have the game mechanic of telephone be a part of this, but in a way where you don't actually have to be physically there, because I create all of these games to be played remotely. Like, if you can't play this game on Zoom, then what's the point? Most people can't be together right now. And like for COVID reasons, let's not put each other's mouths in each other's faces. So instead, maybe you try to set, like, you try to do this gesture maybe this date, maybe you send them a letter, maybe it's a message, whatever it is, whatever this action is. You roll to see exactly like how much stuff is fucked up. Exactly. That's same brain. And then that's how wrong it goes. And then you go from there and you go through like a set time limit. I'll probably make it a timed game, TBH. Just cause for fun. Boy, I hope I can read this. There, I made notes. But yeah, so that's Beefy Castle Dracula, and yeah, a goal for this year is for me to be able to, you know what? I fully understand. I fully understand the attraction to Isaac. Isaac is stunning. Fucking scares the shit out of me. But that's not a drawback. That's okay. It's fictional. It's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, scares the shit out of me though, frankly. I haven't finished Castlevania. I'm on the last season, but it got very depressing. And I just really like Alucard a lot, and I was really upset at how much suffering he was doing. And it was too much. I needed to take a break. It was like this is very heavy, very quickly, and I can't right now. Eventually I will finish Castlevania. Castlevania is an anime. But I had to take a break. It was just really depressing. It was, yeah, unnecessarily depressing. It did not need to be that depressing. It did not advance the plot at all for it to be, like, there was no reason for Alucard to go through all of that. None. It doesn't make any sense. And I know the plot going forward because I spoiled it myself because that's how I watch stuff, but, like, there was no reason for it to be like that, like, at all. I hated it. Anyway, so yeah, goal this year is to be able to just, like, take, like, a week somewhere and just hammer out a game a day of like the micro TTRPGs just to like work through all these fucking ideas and get them the fuck out. Then there's one called Giant Goddamn Nemesis, which is very much in the line of Skull Crusher, but instead of you who is the henchman, you're gonna create your fucking giant goddamn nemesis. You're a hero. You have to create your hero too. Who is their biggest fucking nemesis? Like truly, you have to go all out. This is a character creation heavy game. Very, very character creation heavy game. You are creating the most whacked out, bananas ass, giant goddamn nemesis, and then you gotta fight it. Eh. It's a very simple game. It's a micro RPG, but it's fun. I can't wait. I'm gonna come up with so much fucked up shit, and I want it to be bananas. Like I want it to be Godzilla level, giant goddamn nemesis. I just think it sounds fun. Also, you get to like figure out their backstory. Like this might even end up being more of a journaling game or like a story creation game rather than like a TTRPG because I just feel like this would be fun. It's fun. And I really want to encourage people to push the limits of their shit because I think a lot of people limit themselves creatively really heavily. They're like, that's not realistic, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. My giant goddamn nemesis is 50 feet tall, has lasers for ears, and is made entirely out of butter. Why not? Why can't I? I can. It's a fake fucking world. It's all possible. It would melt. Who cares? Lasers will melt the butter. Who cares? No, they don't. It's magic butter. Boom. Done. Problem fucking solved. My nemesis is 50 feet tall, has lasers, 4 ears, and is made entirely out of magic butter that can't melt. Done. Why not? And then you get to figure out, like, maybe first you make the nemesis, and then you're like, who the fuck is this nemesis? Like, who the fuck is the hero that is going up against this goddamn nemesis? Maybe a bagel. But, like, a real life size, like, a fucking this size bagel. Sentient bagel. It is a sword. Why not? I don't see why not. Giant Goddamn Nemesis is going to be a very silly, very fun game. That's just supposed to push you creatively. That's the whole reason I was like, yeah, this is it. This is a whole thing. And just like, who the fuck is this Nemesis? What the fuck are they doing? And they're just like, what are they made of? Yeah, Popcorn Land needs to beat Butterlord. There you fucking go. But yeah, a Nemesis-like creator. The notes on this, by the way, the only note, is batshit. So it's the intensity level I want that game to have. It's batshit. It's fucking, it's out there. It's wild. I want just to like push creativity. But yeah, this giant goddamn nemesis. It's a nemesis creator. Probably might even end up being a solo journaling RPG. But also like I think it was really cool. I think it'd be really cool if like maybe people who make comics or like illustrate shit played this game and made a little like 4-panel comic based off of what they got from this game. And even if you're not an artist, I'm not technically well, I don't do webcomics. I write webcomics. I don't illustrate webcomics currently. My art style does not lend itself quite to that aesthetic. But I can fucking doodle. I doodle for my friends all the time. Livia and I have a tiny little ongoing thing where occasionally I will draw a doodle of what I think our communal brain cell currently looks like. Tired, by the way, tired. The bitch looks tired and a little scared at all times because it's running back and forth between our brains and it's like, damn, you bitches live like this? So, I'll draw us little comics, which is very funny, especially when you know Livia is a very talented artist who like actively draws. I just fuck around, and when I do make art, it's with paint or like ink. But I don't make people like that. Like I don't do comics as much anymore. Like I just like making our little brain cell and his horrible little traumatic adventures that it goes through. The shit it's seen. Um but I think it'd be really cool if people like doodled their giant goddamn nemesis. You know, Snugglebug was really successful as a game. It has a lot of downloads, a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people saying they want to play it. Hopefully, a lot of people that played it. Not a single goddamn person has drawn me a Snugglebug. I'm mad about it. No worries. Have a good dinner. Damn, it's late. Oh shit, wait, I have a fucking rehearsal tonight. Am I missing it? Am I good? 1 second. My schedule, nope, we still got 2 hours. I'm good. But yeah, have a good dinner. I should make dinner later also. That's a good fucking point. But, yeah. I think it's a tragedy and a travesty and, frankly, audacious as fuck that nobody has drawn me their fucking Snugglebug. People have not even told me what their Snugglebug identity would be. Which, by the way, is the name you pick / your name if you want to do your name. With all of the vowels replaced with O's, and then Fluffle added to the end. So I am Bronda Fluffle. That is my Snugglebug name for the game that I made. This is not random. I have a game called Snugglebug. Anybody's watching and is like, what the fuck is she talking about? I have a game called Snugglebug where you play as a Snugglebug, which is a fictional thing that I came up with. It's very cute, very harmless. There's a character creator part at the beginning that determines what your Snugglebug looks like, what features it has. And absolutely nobody has drawn me a Snugglebug, and I am sad about it. Very sad. Livia did humor me at least by telling me exactly what her Snugglebug would look like when I created the game. Which I need you all to know for context. A, Livia, best friend. B, Livia hates games. She does not play games. She does not like games. But she will let me talk to her constantly about the games that I'm making. And she's actually interested. She thinks cool. She hates games. But she still made a little Snugglebug when I was releasing the game. So, 10 out of 10. Share your Snugglebugs with me, you fucking cowards. I want to see them. The hell does that say? Ugh. Ah, got it. 3 of these, I can't talk about. Sorry. They're, IP adaptations. I don't have the rights to. I'm not gonna say it. 3 of those are out. Can't talk about them. But, let's see. Tiny Future. Tiny Future, another name of the game. Also from the generator. I just thought it was cool. Tiny Future is a game based off of that concept from the movie Downsizing. I saw the movie once. I don't know who was responsible for cutting the trailer for Downsizing. They did a horrible job. That trailer is so misleading for what kind of movie it is. Downsizing is a very intense, high drama movie. It is not a comedic movie. It is not a funny movie. It is actually incredibly fucked up and dystopian. It's good, but it's not what it was advertised to be. The concept of downsizing is that you can pay a certain amount of money to be like shrunken in a little shrink ray, and it's supposed to be like a good thing for the environment, for the world, blah blah blah. I don't even know. Like a luxury thing, and you are like this big. It shrinks you down this big, and it's supposed to scale your wealth as well. Um, there's a lot that goes into the process. It's very intense, and it turns out to be a very high like socio-political drama of a movie, which is fine. Tiny Future is based more on the trailer. That seemed like that was maybe just a fun little wacky comedy with a little sci-fi idea. No, that's a very intense movie. It's it's kind of scary, the movie, actually, TBH. But Tiny Future is based on my first impression of what I thought the movie was going to be instead of what it actually was, where you are in the scenario of it's very like, honey, I consensually shrunk the kids kind of thing. Like you are going to be shrunken down and live in this miniature world and have little adventures. Just be little silly adventures. And like occasionally you still clash with the like normal sized world, like human sized world. And that will have consequences. Oh my god, it's an hour and a half, and we're like halfway through all the fucking games that I'm working. Here's the thing. I have a lot of auditions to do tonight, so I need to rest my voice for another hour before I start recording those. And then I have a rehearsal at session 0 later. But we will continue to stream. Maybe tomorrow. Let me check real quick. Calendar. Ooh, tomorrow is actually big chore day in my house. I'm doing 6 loads of laundry. But on Saturday, on Saturday, I will do the second part of the stream. We will talk further about diversifying your portfolio and the perks that that has, and we will do the rest of the games that I'm working on. Thank you guys for sitting here and for listening to this shit and being interested in it. I will now go on vocal rest for an hour because I can feel myself losing my voice, which sucks. But that's I've been doing a lot of auditions lately, so it makes sense. But yes, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening. And I will talk to you guys really, really soon. And I, of course, always want to hear stuff about what you're working on. And CJ, I think you said earlier that you were thinking about doing something in horror. If you want to, you can DM me. I will literally always happily like be bounced off of idea-wise or whatever you need, or I'm happy to help and support you because I think you're a really talented game designer and I love the shit that you work on. And I would love to, support wherever I can. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. Enjoy the VOD if you're like tuning in just now. I will see you guys again on Saturday. Bye.